All right. Welcome back to Stream Catchers. It's your boy, AB.
Hello there. I'm Jack. What's up?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Feeling good, feeling great. Ready to talk more Bad Batch. What did you think
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
episode 9?
It was good. It was exciting. Got to see more Fennec. I love Fennec as a character. Kind of circling back to the called it corner. We we see Fennec and Cad Bane fight over Omega.
Yes, yeah. I think that when we talked about that Fennec episode at first, I thought that she showed signs of maybe not caring for Omega, but that she wasn't totally trying to kill her. And so I thought maybe she would end up being an ally in some level. And so
Yeah,
seems like that's kind of the path they're going to go on. But I guess before we jump into our bullet points, we can do our warning ahead of time for our beautiful listeners that this is going to be spoiler heavy.
oh
And
yeah.
if you have not seen this episode, hit pause on us, go check it out on Disney Plus and come back, or you can stay and be spoiled.
Yeah, we can
If
tell
you
you how it
haven't.
went.
Just quick hits, real quick synopsis of the episode. Picks up right where episode 8 left off. They are escaping, what was it, Braca?
Hmm.
We see Omega is in the clutches of Cad Bane and his little robot Toto. Omega uses her cunning and guile to escape Cad Bane temporarily, and they are on the run on a planet that looks very much like Bespin, as we discussed before we hit record. Cad Bane is just about to recapture Omega when none other than Fennec Shand pops back up for the first time in several episodes. We get to see a very cool duel between Fennec and Cad Bane. Omega continuing to escape. Learns a little bit about her throughout the episode as well. And then, of course, she is reunited with our heroes far sooner than we thought. And that's really how the episode ends. So let's start there, really. I mean, we
Yeah.
were both a little bit wrong, were we not?
What do you mean?
Well, I think we both last week thought that it was going to be several episodes before she's reunited with the Batch.
Yeah, I thought that would be a more clever way to dive into the characters separately, but it didn't last. Yeah.
No, I can't say I'm disappointed, but I do think
No,
that it
no,
would.
no.
No. I know you wouldn't. You were disappointed. I do think that it would have made for more interesting content in the meantime, right? You know, maybe they are close to getting her and they just miss out, or what have you. But I mean, I guess knowing what she was abducted for was for her to ultimately be terminated. Um, they had to get her sooner rather than later, I suppose. So um,
Yeah.
we learned a little bit about her, though, a little bit more than we knew beforehand. So what do you think
Yes.
about finding out that she's a Fett?
Yes. Omega Fett.
She's got the
Genetic
same DNA
sister
as
to
Boba.
Boba, I guess.
Isn't that wild? Do you think we
It's
might
kind of
see Boba pop
interesting.
up?
I don't think it's out of the question. I'm trying to think of where we saw him last. I know he was in Clone Wars a little bit. He was angry with Mace Windu for
Yeah.
killing Django. But that, I don't think we ever saw a resolution to that.
He went off with some bounty hunters, right?
Like a group of bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Who was
Aura
the
Singh
mace?
wasn't one of them?
Who was it?
Aura Singh or Singe? I can't remember how you say that.
I don't remember. I'm not.
I'd have to go back through the Clone Wars catalog to
No.
remember.
That's one of those arcs that is just very forgettable. Not necessarily bad, but there's just so much that went on,
Yeah.
and this is really easy to forget. So, but yeah, I thought it was a really cool touch to find out that she's directly tied to Boba, and
Hmm.
he is at this point still very young. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it makes sense to have him, maybe it doesn't. But what I do think, maybe,
What do you got for me?
just maybe, we see Omega pop up in Book of Boba Fett.
Ooh, that would be so cool. An adult version of Omega. That would be very cool. Cool. I'd be here for it.
Right? Because we know that Boba and Fennec Shand are allies. She's supposed to be in Book of Boba Fett. Seems like Fennec is going to be somewhat of an ally, friend type to Omega.
Yeah.
Would make
Let's
sense.
let's talk about that for a second. So Omega is very much an asset in Cad Bane's eyes,
Yeah.
and Fennec ambushes Cad Bane, at this rendezvous point where he's supposed to accept payment for this bounty. And there are some lines exchanged between Fennec and Omega, and I definitely think that Fennec has more compassion for Omega. I realized that we find out in this episode that they're working for different people.
Yep.
We find out that Fennec is working for Nala Se, the Kaminoan, who has a deeper connection with Omega than the Prime Minister. I had his name written down. I lost it. Yeah, whatever. So I'm wondering if maybe Fennec kind of sees herself in Omega. With the lifestyle that Fennec has, maybe she was, maybe she kind of raised herself. Maybe she grew up on the streets and had a rough life, and sees that in Omega.
That's a good point, because we don't really know anything, to be honest, about Fennec. We've only seen her in this and in Mando, and there's really no backstory. But I think that makes sense. I don't think that you are raised with a silver spoon in your mouth and have all these advantages, and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be a bounty hunter.
Right.
That's not a life that most privileged people choose. So I could definitely see that being the case, and maybe that there is a bit of an affinity there for her. It seems like it, because just to call back to that first episode we saw Fennec in, where Fennec grabs Omega and she says, said something to the effect of land on your feet and roll, or something like that. She's been looking out for every time we've seen her with her. And, the episode even ends with Fennec saying, if you need me to help out anymore, I'm here, I mean, for money, but I'm
yeah. Well, she got to get paid, right? I mean, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
but I do like the connection. I like the Omega Fennec connection, and I hope that we get to see her, Fennec later in this series be more of an ally.
I do too, and I think we will. I really do. I think they're planting that seed, and I think that so far, I think they're doing a pretty good job finally at making me care about all these characters and wanting to see where they go. I really like having Cad Bane in the mix. I think that's a fun wild card that they've thrown in. I do love having Fennec, who's not an ally, but could be. And we still have Crosshair waiting in the wings a bit. There's a lot of moving parts, and they're doing a good job, I think, of keeping you guessing where it's going. And we
do get one Crosshair glimpse, post burn victim Crosshair. He's messed up. He's more messed up than I thought he was going to be leaving the last episode.
I was going to say, I had that written down as well. The fact that he definitely looks like there's a lot of scarring there, some disfigurement, if you shall. And I think that, that we are going to see a change in maybe his appearance moving forward, maybe a change in outfit or something. But that's a drastic change to make to a character that was really one of the original core characters the show was based on.
You know what I'm realizing, and I hate to break up the momentum of this, but I've still got my Loki background up. I'm going to change it real quick.
Oh.
Sorry, YouTube viewers. Here's Cad Bane.
Woo! That's
part of the growing pains of doing 2 back-to-back podcasts.
Yeah, that's all right. No worries. I would rather you had Cad Bane in there than not. So, where were we? I forgot.
I'm sorry. I totally broke the momentum.
Right.
I'll just dive into my notes here. So let's talk about for a second the need for Omega's DNA. Why do you think the Kaminoans want her? Like, why do they need this specific DNA?
I would assume just so that they can create more like her. I think
so.
But
if you clone a clone, do you then? Does that clone become lesser? I thought there was going to be something deeper to why they needed specifically Omega, and I thought that it would be the force sensitivity thing, idea that I've been rattling around. But now it seems like it's just that she has the unaltered Django DNA. Do you think there's more to it still, or do you think that's going to be the end of this revelation?
Well, we know 2 things. One of them, I guess, is more of a objective viewpoint. But one thing we know is that the Empire wants to and will do away with clones.
Right.
And the Kaminoans are not okay with that, right? That's their means of income. That's
Right.
the business that they have. That's their thing. They don't want to get rid of clones. But there's probably the second point would be that there has to be a difference in the clones that we saw fight in Clone Wars and Boba and Omega. And we've already seen Omega, who is very intuitive, has proven herself viable in combat in spades. We know that Boba is going to grow up to be a pretty badass bounty hunter. There's definitely a difference between what they're capable of doing and what standard clones are capable of doing. You also look at the Bad Batch themselves, right? They're enhanced versions of the clones that fought in Clone Wars, even more so probably than a Captain Rex or some of the other bigger named clones. So I would say it's a combination of they're going to eventually the clones that we know are going to be done away with, and also that there's something special, whatever it may be, seemingly not force sensitivity, but something different specifically about the DNA that Boba and Omega share.
Yeah, so I guess originally they used Django's DNA because it was favorable to them, and then they altered it to produce the clones, and now the Empire sees their product as obsolete. So maybe, just spitballing, maybe they want to recover Omega because she has that DNA, right, so that they can alter it further. They can accelerate it, better, faster, stronger, whatever.
I think there's something to that. I think that they think that maybe they see the Empire's point in that, okay, these are imperfect, but we have this other strain here that's superior somehow, some way. If we can make a better batch, no pun intended.
That's a good.
I didn't mean to do that.
I know it's not intended. I could tell, but it was so good.
It was like right off the tongue, and I was like, I'm just gonna say it. But yeah, if they can make a better batch of clones, why wouldn't they? Maybe that would entice the Empire to stick with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the only motivation that I could see for the Kaminoan prime minister, who has a name that I don't know.
I think he's just been the prime minister.
He definitely has a name, but they say it so little.
I disagree. I bet he was born as prime minister, and then they just
and that's why they elected him.
That's his actual literal name. There's Namaste, and then there's prime minister. That's I don't know. But they had that. They did mention that they just want her DNA, and then they're okay with terminating her, which is weird. Well, not they're not. The prime minister is. It's a little weird, right? Would you not? Why would if you've shown that you can experiment on Crosshair, who admittedly has an inhibitor chip, but we've also speculated that may not be any more relevant, that maybe it's foregone that. Maybe they can do the same to Omega in some level too.
How would that work? I mean, she doesn't have oh, you're saying outside of the chip?
Yeah.
Enhancements outside of the chip, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot to ponder. I feel like this was a really good episode, but I feel like there are even less breadcrumbs now than there were.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also one of those things too, where this show is definitely not. I mean, we just talked about Loki in our just recent episode we just did. How Marvel, the way they do it, there's so much that you can go back and there's like hindsight and breadcrumbs, like you said. Whereas this show, we were probably looking a little too much into it just for the sake of content and a fun conversation. There's probably not that much to it, in my opinion. But I guess it is fun to speculate on.
Yeah, that's probably why we're nailing it on predictions too with this show.
We have done really well with our predictions. I just a quick pat on my back.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about Fennec and Cad Bane.
Yeah. This was a cool bounty hunter rivalry. They're definitely, I guess evenly matched. I want to avoid saying evenly matched, but I mean, they beat the crap out of one another.
They did. It was very well choreographed, for an animation or whatever, or what have you. Well shot. I shouldn't say shot, but visually very pleasing. I like the smoke from the city sort of creeping in, and just the way that they animated it was. There's points where you're like, is this animated or is this real? Right? Even it's animated, but it's just really well done. And then of course,
they're doing a lot with textures too. A lot more with textures than they did with Clone Wars.
Yeah, well, the technology's probably there now as opposed to in 2008 or 9, whenever Clone Wars came out. But yeah, they definitely they're flexing with what technology they
Yeah, I might be reading more into it than anybody has ever, but we're also bridging the gap between the prequels and the original trilogy, and the original trilogy had that lived-in look, whereas the prequel trilogy was more clean and sterile and not a whole lot of details. Everything was green screened, everything was perfect. We're kind of bridging the gap between those two.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure a bit of that was just access to technology and animation graphics and whatnot. But you're right, though. I mean, when you look at the original trilogy, forgetting that it's 90, 77, and 80 and 83, it definitely does look, yeah, more like that's a really great way to describe it. Lived in and
Mm-hmm.
used, and it looks older because it should, right? So
Right.
I think that's a good observation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What else did you? What did
Well, I've got so let's go back to Nala Se and Fennec talking
Okay.
after Omega gets back with the Bad Batch. Nala Se decides that she's still going to pay Fennec for recovering Omega, because as long as she is in safe hands, she's good
Cool.
with that. She
Yeah.
just wants her to be protected and safe. I thought that was
Sure.
really admirable. I'm liking Nala Se as kind of a mom figure, kind of a surrogate mom figure for Omega.
Sure. And I wonder if we'll see down the road a bit of Nalase helping out the batch themselves too, and maybe giving them supplies or credits of some kind, refuge, what have you. I definitely think that she's going to continue to look out for Omega for sure. And it might also bring about the end of Nalase.
I was gonna say I kind of see her getting killed.
Legion of
If her and
Nalase.
that's what I was gonna Nala say. We're getting a little punchy after 2 podcasts. But yeah, I mean, once the prime minister, which I just found the name of, Lama Su, Lamasu. I finally found it. It's in my notes. I've looked at it 100 times and forgot about it. So yeah, if he finds out that she is playing him, maybe he'll backstab her in a
Literally
more literal sense. Yeah.
Caesar style.
Yeah.
Or
Seriously. I mean, they're political figures, so I mean, I think it would be something along the lines of a backstab. Literally, yeah.
is my oh, I thought my thing froze for a second. I was like,
Yeah, you glitched out for
oh.
a second, but I think we're still good.
I was a little scared there. I was like, wait, what? I'm like moving my head. But yeah, I could even see what's his name? Lama two or
Lamasu.
Lama Su. I could even see Mr. Lama Su turning her over to the Empire or something along those lines as well. So that's
Yeah,
something to
I
watch.
mean, from the lines of the episode, it sounds like all he cares about is the DNA, and after that, he doesn't care. Terminator doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's another thing too. When Omega finally gets back with the batch, I think the last line that they leave us on, or one of the last lines, is they're going to keep sending bounty hunters at me. I wonder if we're going to see other bounty hunters come after him.
Well,
What about
could
that
be,
group of
could
bounty
be.
hunters that made off with Boba Fett? Maybe that's how he gets in the mix.
Maybe. Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good. And Cad Bane didn't get paid, so and he's already done some of this job, and maybe he wants a little revenge from Fennec. I don't know.
I definitely don't think that's the last we've seen of them interacting in a fighting sense. And
Yeah.
Hunter's going to want his revenge as well too. So
Yeah, oh for sure. For
I'm looking.
sure. I think his main priority is keeping Omega safe, but if he shows his face, and especially after losing the that duel to him, he's gonna want to get his.
Definitely. No, I think adding Cad Bane was a great addition to this show. He really adds just another layer of fun to keep your eye out for. It's been a really welcome addition. So
Yeah, and I really like how they're leaning hard into the cowboy outlaw, renegade gunslinger stereotypes, even with the musical cues and everything.
yeah. Oh, I also like his little robot. I think it's Toto is the name.
Toto. Mm-hmm.
Toto, shout out to Wizard of Oz. Uh, I don't know why, but I like the little robot. That was Omega's means of escaping, was outsmarting this robot. Which take
Yeah.
that AI, but I like that was how she was able to outsmart him to have Toto let her out of that little cage on Cad Bane's ship, and she
Yeah.
knocks him out, subdues him, and that's But then of course there's that scene where she's riding around on him, and he's trying to keep her from getting in that pod that looked a lot like a Saiyan pod from Dragon Ball Z.
Ooh, good call. I've noticed that too, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Oh man, you know me, I love Dragon Ball Z. That was a
Yeah,
really
for sure.
touch in my mind. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of moving pieces. We still haven't seen. I don't think we've seen the end of Captain Rex. I'm calling it right now. He's coming back at some point. I'd love to see the Deserter come around again. Saw Gerrera, bring them all back for one big
Yeah.
blowout against the Empire. I want to see a big showdown.
One big juicy showdown. Yeah, I would like that a lot.
All
Yeah,
right.
so Omega's safe again. She's back with the Bad Batch. She gets her heartfelt reunion with Wrecker and then with Hunter. It was a little tear-jerky moment. She was definitely very scared, being out there and on her own and being hunted like that. And she's worried that they're never going to stop. And Hunter reassures Omega. He makes her the promise that you are never going back to Kamino.
Yeah,
that was the last line of the show. What do you think of that? Do you think that he can make good on that promise?
No.
No.
No. I think we're going back to Kamino at some point, but
I'm hoping it. I'll say
yeah, I would love that as well. We've talked about it too, but I think in the immediate, I guess, episodes that we're about to see the next couple, I think we're going to go back to a bit of the not slow episodes, but more building again. I think that episodes 2 through, let's say, 6 were more establishing the team, and they're doing jobs for Sid, what have you. We got some mid-season excitement, I think, with 7, 8, and 9. But 7 and 8 really ended on cliffhangers, whereas this one felt like more of a good cutoff, right?
Yeah.
There's not like imminent danger or anything that we have to look forward to in episode 10. So I feel like the next stretch of episodes are going to be more close to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 before they finish us off hot, probably 13, 14, 15, 16.
It's also the last episode, or the first episode in a while that we haven't had a new, famous character pop up, right?
First in a while, right? Because Cad Bane was the week before, and Rex was.
Yeah, Rex was the one. Yeah. I'm trying to think back to the week before that, but my memory's a little shallow right now.
It seems, for the most part, though. I mean, episode 1 had Caleb Doom. Episode 2 had the Deserter. I think Fennec was 3 or 4, right? So
yeah.
Well, Saw was early on as well.
Oh yeah, Saw wasn't Saw 2? Saw was the first one.
No.
Yeah. That's right.
So yeah, we didn't get any really new faces, but I think some other faces are going to be popping up.
Would you bet on Boba? You'd bet on Boba?
I'm calling it now.
It's Mace Windu. You're crazy. It's going to be Mace Windu.
Loki. It's going to be Loki.
Keeping the dream alive, Mace Windu. You're out there. No, I think you're on the right track with Boba Fett and some other bounty hunters cropping up, but I do think that we're getting close to being out of character appearances, because we've had a lot. I mean, they've been very generous with their cameos. Yeah,
they have. But I appreciate it, and
yeah, it's so fun. Makes it a really fun show.
It really is. I think that there was a stretch there where I was mildly enjoying it, whereas now I'm for sure in it, and I look forward to it every week. And this last episode was a lot of fun, specifically with the Cad Bane Fennec Shand fight. That was the highlight.
Yeah, lots of action, high action.
Well, that's all I have. Do you have any other notes or thoughts?
That covers every single one of my notes.
Cool. Well, hey man, fun episode, good chat.
Yeah.
Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. You know that our links for social accounts and all that are in the show notes. If you can leave a little bit of feedback on YouTube or on our social media accounts, we appreciate it. Let us know your theories, if you think Boba Fett's popping up, or if you're with Jack's wild Mace Windu theory.
Yeah.
Mace Windu truth. I would be upset. I wouldn't be upset. But let us know, folks, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, catch you later.